Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today we are obviously going to go over how to make your own corn costume. I was able to order all of the materials I needed on Amazon and it's a really quick and easy project. I am going to show you exactly how I created the costume along with a bonus option of creation at the end with materials that you might already have at home. I also have another video coming out this week with tons more costume ideas that are all 2022 pop culture related, so make sure you're subscribed and stay tuned for that. So if you want to learn how to make a corn costume just like this one, let's get started. So starting off with what materials I used, I will link everything in the description box. I bought this yellow t-shirt on Amazon and this Fabric Fusion glue on Amazon as well. I also bought 3 bags of pom-poms, 2 bags of yellow, 1 bag of white, and a green sweatshirt. I started off by laying out all the pom-poms on the yellow t-shirt, obviously just kind of alternating as I went with yellow and white for different corn kernels. And you can use any piece of yellow fabric for this. It doesn't have to be a t-shirt. This was just the least expensive option I was able to find on Amazon while I was shopping. I will link a couple different options in the description box so that you can check out what is cheapest if you are buying materials for this project. So I started out by laying it out in kind of, an upside down pyramid shape. And then I went ahead and started gluing on my pom-poms with about that much glue, and they really held strong. I tried to pull off some of the pom-poms after the glue was dry, and they're really stuck on there. So this glue worked very, very well. And the reason you can use any fabric for this project, it doesn't have to be a yellow t-shirt, is because we will be cutting out the section with the pom-poms to glue it onto the sweatshirt. You could also just glue the pom-poms directly onto the green sweatshirt, but I tested that out before this video and I found that it didn't look as authentic where you could see the green peeking through. So I liked giving the pom-poms a yellow background because it just looked a little bit more like corn that way. So for that reason, any yellow fabric can do. Felt, t-shirt, an old yellow top sheet, for example, an old yellow curtain. You can really make anything work for this as the yellow background for your corn. So all in all, it took me about 30 minutes to lay out the pattern and glue all of these pom-poms on. So it was a really quick project, which I appreciated because the other method that I tested out took way longer and didn't look as good. So I will definitely say that this was the best method that I tried, and it didn't take up too much time, which I really appreciated. I ended up letting that dry for about 2 hours and then went ahead and just cut out the corn pattern because, like I said, we are going to glue it onto the sweatshirt. So I just went ahead and quickly cut this out. Again, this didn't take very long, which was really nice. So just go ahead and cut it out, and then you're going to be using the same exact fabric glue to glue the corn kernels onto your sweatshirt. One thing I will recommend is making sure that the necklines, if you are using a t-shirt, match up. Mine did because they're both crew neck options, but I will definitely say that I kind of messed up the cut on that left shoulder. As you can see right here, I left a little bit too much space. So I would say to start with the neckline, make sure that matches up and go from there. Once I made sure that everything was going to match up properly, which I knew that it would, I just flipped over the corn kernels and went ahead and started gluing. I did add a generous amount of glue, as you can see, and made sure to really get the edges so that there wouldn't be any pulling off of the fabric. I did get a little bit of glue on the outside of the corn area, but you can't really tell when the sweatshirt is on and the glue dries clear. While I let that dry for another 2 hours, I started on the headband. So I just got a green headband on Amazon and some raffia, and I will of course link both of those in the description box as well. I tried to do this a number of ways, but I found that the easiest way was to actually cut a bunch of raffia and tape down an initial chunk of it. I tried at first to individually glue each strand down to the headband, and that was just much too time consuming. So I found that taping on a bunch and then gluing over the tape with some raffia to just kind of hide the tape worked really, really well. So I just ended up taking raffia strips that were a little bit thicker and more flat, since, you know, there are strands that are a little bit skinnier, as you can see in the bottom left. I tried to grab some of the thicker ones that were easier to glue down and took up more surface space when I glued them down. I found that this way it just looked a little bit more full than the way I was trying to do it before. It looked more sparse because it was harder to try to glue one strand at a time and make it look really full. So as you can see, I just grabbed my hot glue gun and started adding strands to cover up the tape. Hopefully it goes without saying, be really, really careful with this part of the project. The glue is indeed hot, but something that I really liked about using the hot glue as opposed to the fabric glue is that hot glue dries right away. So I was able to honestly very quickly create this headband. Again, it took me only about 30 minutes once I cut the raffia and just continued to glue on strands until it completely covered the tape and I felt like it looked full enough. Once I glued on all my strands, I just cut off some of the excess on the bottom that hung over the rest of the headband. And the best thing about hot glue is when it's done, it is done and ready to go. So here's just another look at the completed project. For the next version I tried of this, as you can see here, I used egg cartons and I tried to paint them to look a little bit more like corn kernels. I ended up using 6 egg cartons for this. Turns out you can buy egg cartons on Amazon, which I will link in the description box. But if you already have egg cartons at home, this could be a good option. I just don't think it ended up looking as authentic to me. It just kind of looks like Legos. But I wanted to include the option because you might already have egg cartons and paint at home. I will also say this option was much more time consuming because I did have to get the egg cartons and paint multiple layers of paint on them to make the yellow really pop and the white really pop. So it took a couple hours of painting this and then letting it dry and then repainting it. So that's also another reason I wouldn't recommend this option, because it was much more time consuming than just gluing a bunch of pom-poms onto yellow fabric. It was also much harder to get this sweatshirt on and off because the egg crates are stiff, so I had a really hard time getting it on over my head and taking it off as well. So this is definitely not my preferred option, but I wanted to include it just in case you already had any of these materials at home and were trying to do something last minute. Also, maybe this gave you some inspiration of a better idea to do this. So if you do have a better idea and a better suggestion, please leave a comment down below and let all of us know. Thank you so much for watching today. Please leave a comment if you're going to be making this for Halloween, or if you have any suggestions for the egg carton method. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!